Okay, I'm going to be sending a link with a more formal tutorial that someone else has done, but I just wanted to show you a real quick way that I would go about creating a document in GIMP. So this is what it looks like when it opens up. It may look slightly different on a Mac or something like that, but it'll be pretty broadly the same thing. And one thing we can do is we just hit new and open up a new template. It can be whatever size you want it to be, a big giant piece of paper like an A4 or whatever, or just whatever you have in, I assume I have something in my clipboard that's this size. So I have a white document here that I have a background, and the first thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start making layers. And the reason why I would want to make a layer is if I am, say, coloring or something. So I'm going to do an airbrush. Right? I'm going to make it a big airbrush. Right? So if I'm trying to do a cool artistic airbrush design or something, but I want to have something over top of that, what I want to do is I want to right click over here and create a new layer in this layers section. And this is going to be a new layer that's existing over top of it because you can see it's above here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and fetch a picture on black bears. So here's some black bear pictures. These are big beefy ones. More in the, so I'll get one of my little tiny ones. There you go, whatever this is. So I'm just going to blatantly steal this image. Don't do that. That's not good. And now that I've copied and pasted that, I've selected that, and it's even actually pasted it in. That's its own thing. And I clicked make that visible now. And I am going to now have that floated layer. And so now what I can do is like that layer is now sitting over top of this. So I can move this. If I had like an image in the background that I wanted, I can now change this. And if on this layer, I like this layer in the middle now, if I select this, I can actually like stop looking at it even though it's still there by clicking the eye. And if I want to have like some design or something over top of this, I've selected this middle layer by clicking on it, and then I can select a box, and maybe let's say I'll just like fill in whatever is in this box with a color. And then now you can't see that because it's behind. So like the bear's on top, this red box is the middle layer, and then the white background is the behind it. But if I click and drag these and move these around, well then now I can actually like change and move what is displayed first and over top of this. This would be like a good way to like make like a title bar or something like that, or like a, hey, here's, I clicked on the text, I can change the font, right, and make a font here. And so now I've selected that font and I'm going to type in this box. It doesn't look like anything because I accidentally selected the same color. So I have to highlight it and then make it a different color. And obviously that's way too small, so now I need to increase the font size. Right, so this is the way that I can now, and see when I created that text, it's a separate layer as well, so now I can move that around. If I grab the text, I move the text. I grab the box, I move the box. So I can use this sort of thing. If I want to like edit this box size, one thing that I can do is now that I've grabbed onto just this, the text is all on its own. Everything else is just kind of stable on this. But now I can edit this a little bit by selecting that box, or say I want to like select that picture, right? So if I want to like edit the picture, I'll get all this stuff out, other stuff out of the way, and say I want to grab this bear and not anything else. I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit of editing, but there's a function where you have a fuzzy select tool that is going to be selecting something based on like roughly its color, right? It's not going to work super well on like a live animal like this, but it's a way that you can kind of like select this edge. And so now it's selected everything here. Obviously that's not the entire bear, but it gives me a pretty good edge here that gets me started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And it's selected everything in this zone. So what I want to actually do is I want to erase all of the plants. So I can actually go to select and invert the selection. So it doesn't look like anything changed, but what effectively is I've selected everything that's not in that image. So if I go and try and do something, right, if I go and try and like paint in the image, I can't because I'm not selecting it. But if I go and try and paint out of the image, I can. That's notable because if I want to like erase things, well, now I have a pretty good way to make myself have a rough outline of where this bear is, right? So it's not going to work. I'm going to have to reshift this. So I'm going to like have to change what I'm focused on and tweak it a little bit. But now I've started to produce a rough outline. So if I make a new like text box or a new select box, I select again. Now it removes all that. So now I'd have to go and fuzzy select around like the top of the bear's head or something, or the ear. And then that gives me, I would invert it again to select, and now I can actually kind of erase around that bear's ear, right? So if I dip too low, well, then I just start erasing the bear's head because I haven't actually selected that, right? So that's why I want to be careful about the way that I'm erasing and the way that I'm cleaning things up. So that's how I would go erase things and change things. I want to click the eye so you can go back and start seeing all of this stuff again. And notably that because this is a black and white like checkerboard pattern in the background right here, what you're looking at is you're looking at a transparency layer. So anything that is not an actual color is going to show up as like see-through. So that's why it is like that. So if I have a layer selected and I want to like erase something from a different layer, but if I'm trying to erase this, I can't because I've selected this red box layer. I have to go down and select that bear, and then then I'll be able to erase anything that I want from that particular level, right? So that's real quick on how you would go about like capturing an image, bringing an image into this, moving some text around, and then you can shrink things. So I can, of course, take a selection and then I can change that selection so I can align things a little bit. I can warp and scale objects. So I've selected this picture, and what I can do is I can just shrink that picture now. I can change other things. I want to flip it, or I want to turn it into a picture, right? So that like now it's acting as if it's a 3D image, right? Don't do this; it's going to look terrible. But that's a way that you can like change things and move stuff around in your image, right? So that's maybe you want to make like a pseudo 2.5D image, something along those lines. Other ways that you might want to do things is if you're going to, the last thing I want to show is how to get a color. So if you use coolers, just start a generator and you want to like use these images, right? So if I want to grab Persian pink, I can get this color in a couple different ways. I know what this hexadecimal number is. I think it's called a hex code. I know FF86C8 means this pink. So what I can do is I can just click on that and I can just paste in that, or HTML, I guess, paste in that code. So now when I start to color on, let's say on the red level, right, I'm coloring in that same code. Other ways that I can do that, if I'm feeling like that's maybe not the way that if I don't know, like I don't know what that bear's brown nose's hexadecimal color is, but if I want to like grab that brown, what I can do is I can use this little ink dropper thing. That's color picker. And now what I'm doing is you can see it's changed up here. I'm grabbing that particular color. So if I want to like get that green and have nothing else be that green, then that's one way that I could do that. And grab that color, and then maybe I want to like match the black from the bear's fur, and that's what I want my like text color to be, right? So I could like type in the bear's black color in its fur or something like that, or I can like edit the ones that I already have, right? Don't do it this way. Just type in gray instead. It's a lot easier. But that's a way that I could like grab those colors and use those for whatever I would, however I would want to do it. So there's obviously a grade F score, but that's the way you would go about taking this sort of images, moving things around, tweaking things in GIMP, and you can start creating a document in here that would be hopefully pretty useful for these OWC analysts. Thanks.